Take a stroll through any supermarket and you'll still see those little nutritional hieroglyphics shouting from the sides of boxes and cartons. Cholesterol free. Contains 0 milligrams cholesterol. No cholesterol. Heart healthy. It's the food equivalent of an old public service announcement from the 80s, dramatic, a bit scolding, and increasingly out of touch with what science actually tells us today. In fact, it might be time we all agree. Putting cholesterol front and center on food labels may be more about marketing legacy than meaningful health information. For decades, cholesterol was public enemy number one in the world of nutrition. This was understandable at the time. Early research linked high blood cholesterol with cardiovascular disease, and it seemed intuitive that eating cholesterol would raise blood cholesterol. But as more nuanced research emerged, that assumption turned out to be an oversimplification. Dietary cholesterol, the kind you find in foods like eggs, shrimp, or liver, doesn't significantly impact blood cholesterol for the majority of people. Instead, it's saturated fat, trans fats, and overall dietary patterns that influence LDL, bad cholesterol more consistently. Yet food labels haven't quite caught up with this shift in thinking. The Nutrition Facts panel still lists cholesterol in its own prominent line, complete with a daily value percentage that makes even a single egg yolk look suspiciously excessive. This can send a misleading signal that cholesterol is something inherently harmful and that a low cholesterol food must be healthier, which isn't necessarily true. Take, for example, a bag of jelly beans. Cholesterol-free? You bet. Good for your heart? Not exactly. On the flip side, a whole egg might contain around 185 milligrams of cholesterol, nearly 60% of the daily value, but it's also packed with protein, choline, vitamin D, lutein, and other nutrients that support brain, eye, and heart health. The label's bold cholesterol line tells you almost nothing about the overall healthfulness of the food. The irony is that many of the foods branded cholesterol-free during the anti-egg era are ultra-processed, full of refined carbs, added sugars, and seed oils, the very things that are now being implicated in the modern rise of metabolic disease. So if we're going to keep emphasizing anything on a label, maybe it should be dietary fiber, added sugar, or overall processing level, not a single compound that's been largely exonerated in the latest clinical trials. Now, to be fair, there are exceptions. People with familial hypercholesterolemia or other rare lipid disorders may still need to watch dietary cholesterol, as their bodies can't regulate internal production well. And yes, food labels should still list cholesterol content somewhere. Full transparency is important. But should cholesterol continue to get star billing, framed like a red flag warning in bold font? Probably not. Reforming food labeling to reflect up-to-date science wouldn't just improve accuracy, it might actually improve how people eat. If consumers weren't so afraid of cholesterol, they might feel more confident choosing nutrient-dense foods like eggs, shellfish, or liver instead of defaulting to sugary, low-fat, cholesterol-free snacks that offer little more than a glucose spike and a guilt trip. Nutrition is complex, and boiling it down to one-line item on a label never worked all that well to begin with. But especially now, with our growing understanding of how dietary patterns, inflammation, and metabolic health intersect, it's high time to reevaluate what those labels are actually telling us. If we're still highlighting cholesterol like it's a villain from a 1992 after-school special, maybe the real outdated thing is the label itself. In the end, food is more than a collection of numbers and milligrams. It's context, pattern, and synergy, the messy but beautiful chemistry of how what we eat becomes who we are. So yes, keep the cholesterol line if you must, but let's stop pretending it tells the whole story.